¿Qué la que hay, corillo? So I got requested to do a topic that is very common. It's very common, especially in Spanish. In English, not so much, but in Spanish it is. And it's a topic that some people struggle with their whole lives. Fortunately, I don't have as much issues with this as other people. It's not to brag. It's just that I have a little more experience. Let's put it that way. I have a little bit more experience in the subject. And that subject is the subjunctive. However, the subjunctive is such a broad topic that to talk about it in one sitting will be foolish. I'll be here for hours and hours, days even. So I might make separate videos on different things about the subjunctive. But this is going to be episode 1, I guess. If you guys want me to make more videos on the subjunctive, let me know and I'll make part 2, part 3, part 4, however many you guys want. So today we're going to be talking about weirdo verbs. Now, what exactly is a weirdo verb? Well, a weirdo verb is a verb that pertains to the categories of wishes, emotions, impersonal expressions, recommendations, doubt/denial, and ojalá, which is a Spanish term basically meaning God willing. And so basically, these verbs are used to talk about things that will not necessarily happen, but could happen. It's a possibility. Now let me take a step back and talk about the subjunctive as a whole. The subjunctive, even in English, is used, even though we don't really use it that much, even if we don't recognize it. For example, the law states that you be at least 6 feet to vote. Even though it's not true, it's just an example. In Spanish, the subjunctive is used to express doubt, just like the weirdo verb said, doubt, denial, stuff like that. So I'm going to go category by category, give you guys examples of the verbs that fit into each category, and hopefully you'll have a better understanding of how to use these weirdo verbs, and you can give me examples of in the comments or my social media. By the way, I have my social media in the description. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can ask me questions there. We can personally chat there. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you conjugate the subjunctive. So the subjunctive is pretty much conjugation-wise divided into 2 categories. You have the AR verbs and you have the IR and ER verbs. So it deviates from regular conjugation, obviously, to differentiate. We're going to look at the AR side first because it's, in my opinion, easier. So to form the subjunctive in AR, ER, and IR verbs, you take the yo form of the verb, you drop the O, and then you add the corresponding ending. For example, so for AR verbs, you add an E, depending on which personal pronoun is being used. So for example, hablo, yo hablo. You drop the O and add an E. Yo hable. Drop the O and add an ES for tú. Tú hables. Do the same thing for the rest of the conjugations. Usted hable, él hable, ella hable, nosotros hablemos, ellos hablen, ellas hablen, ustedes hablen. Now, what if we have a stem changer? For example, let's take the verb jugar. You still do the same exact things. That's simple. You do the same thing. You take the yo form, juego, drop the O, and you add the E. Juegue. Juegues. Juegue. Pero, with the nosotros form, since it doesn't normally change with the stem changer, you do not change it in the subjunctive either. So it'll stay. You don't change the stem, but you'll still add the ending. Juguemos and jueguen for the ellos, ellas, and ustedes form. Okay, so with the IR and ER verbs, those are grouped together because they have the same conjugation rules. You take the yo form, just like the AR. Take the yo form, drop the O, and you replace it with an A. So let's take the verb comer. Yo como. Drop the O, replace it with an A. Yo coma. Tú comas. Él, ella, usted coma. Nosotros comamos. Ellos, ellas, ustedes coman. It's that simple. Okay, let's take a IR verb. Vivir. do the same rules. The same rules apply. So we end up with viva, yo viva, tú vivas, él, ella, usted viva, nosotros vivamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes vivan. It's that simple. It's really simple, honestly. Conjugating subjunctive, once you practice a lot, you can get it just like conjugating a regular verb in the indicative. And now for those verbs that have irregular conjugations in the present tense, the rules still apply. So let's take the verb tener, to have. You take the O form tengo, drop the O, and since it's an ER verb, we're adding an A. So you end up with tenga, tengas, tenga, tengamos, and tengan. It's really that simple. It seems very scary when you just think about it, when you look at it for the first time, but it's really not as hard as it sounds, honestly. Just practice, do your exercises, do whatever you need to do to get in your brain the conjugation for it. So now we're gonna go over the actual categories and which verbs fit into which one. Regardless of the category, you use a subjunctive. So we're gonna take a look at W, which is wishes. However, I forgot to mention spelling changes, so let's go over that very, very quickly. So verbs that end with ZAR, for example, empezar, the Z changes to a C. Empiece with a C, not a Z. Escoger. Verbs that end with GER, GIR, the G changes to a J. Escoja with the J. Verbs that end with GUIR, the GU changes to just a G. So in the verb seguir, the subjunctive is siga. Verbs that end with CAR, the CAR changes to a QU. So when you conjugate buscar, you get busque. Verbs that end with UIR, you add a Y before the A. So for example, huir, huya. And there are also a few irregulars in the subjunctive. Dar, to give. The subjunctive is de, des, de, demos, and den. The only two that get accented are de for the yo form and the el, ella, usted form. Estar, este. So all of them except estemos get an accent. Haber, to have, which is the auxiliary verb. None of them get an accent except hayáis, which is only used in Spain. So if you don't plan on speaking Spanish from Spain, you don't really have to worry about it. So you get haya, hayas, haya, hayamos, hayan, which is HAYA, and then if anything else comes after that. Saber, sepa, 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 sepamos, sepan. Ser, sea, 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 seamos, sean. It's that simple. Only 6 of them. Okay, so finally we got to the WEIRDO verbs. So, like I told you guys, they all stand for a certain thing. So let's go to wishes. Wishes, for example, querer, to want. It's a wish. You wish this. This is something that you want. Desear, verbs like that. So, if I were to say in Spanish, I want you to help me, I would say quiero, and then the essential que. Quiero que. It's essential that you have that que right there, because if you don't have it, your Spanish is just going to sound broken. So, quiero que, and obviously the personal pronoun is optional, so you can say quiero que tú, or you can say quiero que, and then jump straight to the verb. So in this case, we're going to use it just for reference. So, quiero que tú me ayudes. You have to conjugate it in the subjunctive. It's not correct to say quiero que tú me ayudar, nor quiero que tú me ayudas. No, quiero que tú me ayudes. So that goes the same with desear. Deseo que me ayudes. Even though that sounds a little bit weird just because of the verb being used, but it's still 100% perfectly grammatically correct. There you go. Okay. So emotions. Verbs that deal with emotions, like alegrarse, me alegro de que blah 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 blah. I'm happy that blah 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 blah. So let's say I'm happy that you're here. Me alegro de que tú estés aquí. Me alegro de que. So when you use alegrarse, you usually use de. So, me alegro de, and then que tú estés ahí. It's not correct to say me alegro de que tú estás ahí. That's incorrect. That works the same with any other emotional verbs. Okay, so let's talk about the I category. So the I category is impersonal expressions. So what an impersonal expression is an expression that describes something that isn't really pertaining to one specific person. For example, in English, it's important that you brush your teeth every morning. In Spanish, it's the same thing. You would say in Spanish, es importante que te cepilles los dientes todos los días. It's important that you brush your teeth every day. Es importante, it's important, que, that tu cepilles, it's not cepillas, nor is it cepillar, because the infinitive is cepillar. So remember, you have to change to the opposite. I don't really know what you call it, but you change the O to an ES since it's an A verb or an AR verb. So cepillas, es importante que te cepillas los dientes todos los días. Okay, so I forgot what the next category is. Recommendations. So in all of these, in all of the WEIRDO verbs, all of them are really recommendations, honestly, if you think about it. I wish, yo quiero que tú me ayudes. I want you to help me. You're recommending to the person that you want them to help you. It's not bound to happen. Well, let me say it this way. It's not guaranteed to happen, which is why I use the subjunctive. Nor impersonal expressions is it, guaranteed to happen. So that's really why you use it. And it goes the same with commands too. I'm going on a rant right now, but with commands, it's not guaranteed that the person will do what you say. That's why you use the subjunctive. So, recommendations. Yo te recomiendo que comas saludable todos los días. I recommend to you that you eat healthy every day. The same thing, follows the same rules. Doubt and denial. So, if you're doubting that someone, has something or does something, it's the same thing. It's not, you don't know if it's true, you're doubting it. That's why you're doubting it. If you know for a fact that it's true, you would not use the subjunctive. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Yo dudo que él tenga tanto dinero. I doubt that he has a lot, that I can't even speak English right now. I doubt that he has that much money. No dudo que él tiene tanto dinero. I don't doubt that he has that much money. So when you're doubting something, you don't know. It's a doubt. So you express the subjunctive. However, if you are not doubting something, or if you know something for a fact, you do not use the subjunctive. Which is why in the second example, no dudo que él tiene tanto dinero, you do not use it because you're not doubting, you're not expressing doubt. So you use the indicative. And after 12 minutes, we finally get to the O. Ojalá. I've heard somewhere that the origin of ojalá, I know it's for a fact, I know it's an Arabic word. It's, I don't know what it is. I don't speak Arabic, so, but, I mean, Allah is like the last 3 letters, so it comes from Arabic and the history of Spain and all that jazz. But when you use ojalá, you say ojalá que, use subjunctive, and go on with the sentence. So ojalá que llueva en la mañana. God willing, it rains in the morning. Even though ojalá que blah 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 is the correct form, is the correct way to say it, many times in everyday Spanish, if you go to another country, you'll hear them say ojalá llueva en la mañana. They'll cut out that que completely. Now this does not happen with the other weird verbs. It only happens with ojalá. So I don't really know if that's a formal thing, if that's a formality, but just to be safe, if you're writing like a formal paper or anything, talking formally, I would just stick with ojalá que. So like I said, ojalá que llueva en la mañana. I can't really think of another example right now. Ojalá que nosotros ganemos este partido. God willing, we win this game. So, it's that simple. And with that, we come to the end of the weirdo verbs. So, if you have any further questions about weirdo verbs or how to conjugate the subjunctive, comment below or ask me on my social media. Make sure you activate your notifications so that you never miss one of my videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.